Hello everybody, Skippy Gamer here. Welcome to my video review of Earthbound 0. Now, around Christmas time last year, I did a video review of this exact game. However, that review and some other reviews that I did after that were big failures. But after using Windows Live Movie Maker for my Fullmetal Alchemist GBA and Sonic Battle reviews, I decided to go back to all my reviews I did in the past and fix them. Which is what we are doing today. With that out of the way, let's begin. Earthbound 0 is the American title for the Japanese game Mother. Although recently, before the Nintendo World Championship of 2015 began, the creator of the franchise, Shigesato Itoi, sorry for mispronouncing that, announced that he recreated this game for the Wii U for all of us to play. He renamed it Earthbound Beginnings. After that announcement, I started to feel hope for Mother 3, which we may talk about another time. So before you download this game for the Wii U, is it really worth playing? Then I guess we should press the start button and start playing. Story. The story begins in the mid-1900s, where a small family gets kidnapped by aliens. 2 years later, only the husband returned from the aliens, but the wife didn't come back. The husband started studying a type of magic called PSI after that. 80 years later, we come to the present day, where we find a young boy named Ninten, guess the family likes Nintendo, in his house, ready to go downstairs for something. Where all of a sudden, a phenomenon starts, and the lamp in Ninten's room starts moving, and it flies to Ninten with the intention of killing him. After Ninten kills, or breaks, the lamp, he rushes to his little sister's room, where he finds a baby doll trying to kill Ninten also. Put a diaper on that thing, man! After the baby doll gets beaten up, the phenomenon stops. While everything settles down, Ninten looks inside the doll to find a music box with a melody in it. Later on, his dad calls home to tell him, in an odd way, that he should, or needs, to go on an adventure to save the world. And he says it like it's no big deal and it's normal or something. Now that's not good parenting at all. Not one bit. I'll stop explaining the story right there. The story is okay. It probably does get better later on, but so far, it's not like epic or anything like that. Although I suggest sticking with the game's story for a while, like you would for any new anime series. I narrowed the score down to either 2 or 3 stars, although after thinking about it for a while, I decided, based on what I played through so far, to give it 2 stars. Music. The music to this game is okay and pretty basic. Though it has an orchestra to it, it still sounds like an old game. Yeah, good point. But still. But none of the songs were that enthusiastic or anything. Except for the hippie man theme. Now this song is an exception. Sometimes I just can't help but to dance when this song comes on. The other sound effects are pretty basic too. The sound effects on when you try to select stuff in the game are okay and basic. And the text speed sound for the text bubbles, if you really want to call them that, are pretty basic too. Some of the battle sound effects sound like a lot of hitting and banging sounds. If that makes sense. I really don't have any complaints about it. But the type of sounds they used in battle seems pretty basic to me. With everything I said and more, I decided to give music 2 stars. Graphics. The graphics to this game are old and sometimes not that colorful to me, honestly. But some did seem colorful at times. Like the water. The design for the overworld is kind of detailed, but not as much as it is in battle mode. And I got to say this off the bat. Some of the character design in this overworld reminds me of a familiar comic series by Charles Schulz. By the way, let me know if you are excited for the Peanuts movie coming soon. Okay, back to the review. The enemy models in battle mode are detailed very well for an NES game in my opinion, which is something I like. The text bubbles in the game, if you seriously want to call them that, lack color for some reason. I don't have that big of an opinion about it, honestly. The world map is designed well also, color-wise anyway. At least the green part, and maybe the mouse that shows where you are in the map, is good too. Although the map can be hard to follow at times, but since I had Gudga's 30s Let's Plays help on what to do, I never had the need to use it. With everything I said and more, I decided to give graphics 3 stars. Gameplay. One thing I forgot to tell you earlier is that before I written this script, I decided to replay the game and to play around with it a bit. And maybe look at some videos I did a bit, to see if I could change my score of the game at all. And I did! The gameplay is okay also. The way the gameplay works is like Earthbound for the SNES, but with some downs rather than ups. For one, when I played it again at the beginning, I remember having a hard time moving slowly to a character so I can talk to them, and at times they moved, which made it kind of harder. When you needed to interact with something, you have to input the right commands from the pause menu. Like, if you need to talk to someone, you have to face them and select Talk. If you select Check, it won't work, and will close the menu. And I guarantee certain amounts of times that the person you are trying to talk to will move when you make that mistake. The same goes with checking stuff, with the exception of the things you're checking moving, because that won't happen very often. In the beginning of the game, it barely gives you a hint on how to find a key to go in the basement. I don't remember, but I think I had to use a video walkthrough to find out that you had to check, not to talk, but check the dog outside the house. Although if you talk to the dog, it does tell you to check him to succeed. And the city people do give you hints. So I guess I shouldn't say that the game barely gives you any hints in the game. It does in its special way, mainly if you talk to people. Also, to get money, you have to beat up enemies so your dad can't put them in your bank account. Now that's a cool way to get an allowance in my opinion. To access your bank account, you need to use your cash card to do it. The only problem is that to do it, you need to go into your equipment and use the card. If you select the check option in your menu, it won't work. It'll only exit the menu and you will have to access the menu again. It's not that big of a deal, but that did annoy me, pretty much. To save your game, you have to go to a phone, whether it be a normal phone or a payphone. Now, it's nice that you can save at your house through your free-to-call phone, but if you're like out in the world or something in some strange city, you're gonna have to use payphones a great majority of the time. I haven't really used them, so I don't know how much they are, but let's just hope they don't cost that much. If they do, then we are in trouble. In Earthbound, they cost only $1 to use, from where I gone anyway in the game, which that's the next review I'll be doing after this. One piece of advice I can give you is to make sure that after you are done shopping for items is to put all of your money back in any ATM. Because if you die, you will load back up to your last save point. With some of everything you did before that, I think. But half of your money that you had in your pocket will be gone forever. So I'd advise you to take my advice. Unless you think you can handle yourself without my advice. If you do, then I encourage you to be very, very careful. I heard on Goodgus30's Let's Play of this game that you should get the wooden bat before you go any further than the city. Which is understandable, and I would go for easily, but it costs $500. Yikes! I already told you how to get money in this game and how to access it, but the problem is that if you want to survive to get all that money, assuming you don't have the PSI life up power, you need to spend your money to get some healing items at the grocery store. And the battles in this game can take a lot of your health, so you need to use it. And normally, you need to go back to the store and to get to more, which wastes your money. Thankfully, you can get all your HP and PSI powers back by sleeping at home or at a hotel, but the hotel costs too much money! Now, I was told on Goodgus30's Let's Play that you can sell your old bat for some money, but I tried that and I couldn't find out how to unequip my plastic bat. It was like it was locked to my weapons and I couldn't take it out unless I get the wooden bat. I kind of feel like I did unequip the bat when I first played this game with you guys on YouTube, but I couldn't figure it out when I played it again for this review. So trying to get to that bat was hard, but if you have your life up PSI power and you're close to your house, then you have nothing to worry about in grinding. Storage space in your inventory doesn't really help getting a lot of healing items either. Trust me. The random encounters in this game are a pain in this topic, and will frustrate you throughout the game. The balance between battles and walking around the overworld is frustrating. I can kind of recall me having a hard time with that when I was recording those 5 days of me playing the game. especially in the cemetery. One example would be that when you enter a battle, it can be either a quick second or a while, but when you finish a battle, a majority of the time, you can actually run into another fight by just taking one step. One step! I know, it is! But there are other times where you won't come to another battle for a while, or somewhere in between that. And you won't know if another battle may come after one step or not. It's crazy! Battles take long too, so you can actually die easily by this flaw programming. This is one of the many reasons why grinding in this game is so frustrating. People got frustrated at this that they ended up making a ROM hack called Earthbound 0 Easy, which made some adjustments to make the game more easier and enjoyable, which I may actually play the easy version sometime. PSI works like normal magic in any RPG game, so it's no big deal on how to use it. But there are two things that are different. For one, no items in the game, from what I have played so far, can recover your PSI powers. Not even if you get a game over, I think. You have to sleep at a hotel or at your house to do it. The time when you get a certain PSI power are random too. I have heard online that one power you get from someone later on in the game. You do get... What I mean is, you do get from someone later on. Like, later, I don't know how much later. But anyways. The battles are okay and easy at times if you have enough health, strong healing items, and if you are at a high enough level. The battles run smoothly too. Although I would have preferred to see the battle like most RPG games rather than just reading it in the text bubble. If you truly want to call it that. But I got used to it after a while. I think I remember having a hard time running away when I first played this game. If you hold down the B button, I believe, you can actually sprint, which is something that was not in the Japanese version I found out online. But one thing I have noticed is that it's not speeding your main character up, it's speeding the entire game up. Here, take a look at this first clip. Okay, now let's replay that spot again, but this time, let's hold down the sprint button but not move a muscle. If you ask me, that's kind of crazy, and could resemble, like, poor programming on it. I mean, they could just make the main character speed up without speeding the rest of the game up. I guess it's almost like a sign of poor programming when they brought this game from Japan, you know? But that doesn't really make the sprint any issue or anything, concerning it will get you around places faster, which is kind of nice. There is a cool gameplay element, but I think it's perfected here than in Earthbound. I'm not kidding. I'll tell you why in a moment, but there's this move you could do called Auto. If you click on Auto, it'll just randomly pick the moves for you based on what the situation. And in most cases, it will heal you by itself, whether it be from an item or a PSI power. So it's kind of handy, but if you're trying to save a healing item, then yeah, it's gonna be a problem. Yeah. The reason this game perfects the move is you could, anytime you want to exit auto mode, just press B, and when your move's up again, you could just pick normally. I guess I will go over why I guess the reason why I think it's perfected here is because you could cancel it easily. In Earthbound, it seemed like you couldn't that easily at all. I guess I'll get more into that when I get to the game. The actual game, Earthbound, not this game. So, the game has a lot of downsides to it, but if you can get past those flaws, like my good friend GoodGuess30, then you will have a nice and simple game to play. And you may actually enjoy it. Maybe. With everything I said and more from what I've played so far, I decided to give gameplay 2 stars. With everything I said and more, I decided to give this game 2 stars with a bronze medal.